All right, my iPad just turned 5 o'clock. I will call the Richland County Executive and Finance Standing Committee to order. Roll call, Mr. Kalish.
Yes. Carroll.
Here.
Schoonover.
Here.
Manning.
Here.
Gill.
Here.
Glassburner. Turk.
Here.
Frank. Williamson.
Here.
Cooey. You have one.
Okay. Agenda verification of open meetings law compliance.
Yes, Mr. Chair, the meeting is
Properly posted.
Yes, Mr.
Agenda approval, there will be one change. We are going to scratch item 13. Item 13 will be scratched for tonight. So we're down to a 20-point agenda. Mr. Manning makes the motion, seconded by Mr. Schoonover. All those in favor of approving the agenda with one scratch signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? All right. Approval of minutes from the July 8th meeting. Everybody take a little bit of time and look at them in your packets. If there's no corrections or changes as they are presented, I will stand them as approved as presented. Nobody has anything? All right. Public comment, item number 6. Shirley just got a form for me. Go ahead, Shirley.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. It's in regard to agenda item number 10, which is amending the handbook to allow for 2 additional holidays. I'm not opposed to adding additional holidays. I think it's really important that we have a fair and reasonable compensation and benefit package for all of the employees. I am concerned, though, about in the resolution, the 4th whereas statement that reads something like adding 2 holidays would be a low to no cost benefit. I think that could be a true statement if there was no productivity happening on the 2 days that would now become a holiday, that it would be a neutral impact to the overall base pay, but it doesn't take into consideration the work that's being done by the employees on those 2 days and the value that residents or taxpayers of Richland County may perceive happening. So if I'm waiting for something really important and now it's going to be 2 days later or a day later, that's impact to the residents of the county. It also could have an impact if there's actually work that's needed to be done on that holiday, like maybe roads need to be plowed or something else that's critical that needs to be done. If I understand the handbook correctly, it says that on holidays that are worked, the employee receives holiday plus time and a half. So that could also be an impact to the finances of the county. So my recommendation and request is that when you're considering that, you take that into consideration, the 4th whereas statement, because I don't believe it's a true statement to say that 2 holidays would be a low to no cost benefit. I think that there are financial impacts, and I think there's also cost to the residents and taxpayers. Thank you.
Thanks, Shirley. Moving on, any other public comment in the room or anybody online? Public comment? Okay. Reports, item 7. 7A, Administrator's Report.
All right, so I think the most exciting news that we have is that we have hired a finance director. Leanna Pick started yesterday, so we're really excited to have her here. She has had most of her history in the corporate world and is excited to jump into the public sector, and we're very excited to have her. She has jumped in and already sent me a project of something she worked on, so I'm very excited about that. In the admin documents folder, you will find the 2026 through 2028 capital improvement plan. We did add that in there. If you have any questions about that, just let us know and I will sit down and go over it with you. We have merged the payrolls of Sheriff, Simons, Courthouse, and HHS all into one payroll. So we currently have 3 separate payrolls. We're working to get it down to 2. As you recall, at one point in time there was 9, then we got it down to 7. So we are almost down to 2 separate payrolls. So we're very excited about that. That saves a lot of time for them on the back end when we can merge those. We're also continuing to work on time and attendance in Tyler. All departments except the Sheriff's Department in Pine Valley will be using Tyler to clock in and out once we go live, and that should be in October. I want to take a moment to say thank you to many of the staff at Ambulance and some of the on-call staff. In the last couple of months, there have been some that have taken on a lot of extra hours, a lot of extra shifts, and their dedication and time to the program is much appreciated. So I do want to make note of that, and it's been a lifesaver, so literally, so we do appreciate that. And that is what I have for an update right now.
Anyone with questions for the administrator? All right, let's go to radio tower update.
All right, so some of the updates, the installation has started on some of the servers in the courthouse. Some radio equipment has been installed in the third floor radio rack. Radio racks are being delivered to most of the sites, and then there's some work on the alarms, and the DC plant wiring has started. Sites with room in them have the dishes placed in the shelter to prep for tower installation. Fiber work is being completed in Boaz, Westport, and Richland Center sites, and there's still some splicing to do, but nearly completed. The Yuba Tower site foundation, the civil work, maybe a couple of more months. One thing with the Yuba site, as you may recall, we had a hard time getting the location. Finally, we're able to get the location. They are now there working on it. It is not an ideal location. There will be a change order that will come to this committee for approval for a pretty significant amount because they have to build, they're going to have to build a retaining wall, and that's going to be pretty pricey. So that is a challenge that we have coming up, but we have the site, the work is being done. It's just going to take a lot of our contingency funds. They are working on installing the antennas on the courthouse roof. They're working on shipping equipment. Most of the frequencies, actually now all the frequencies have been approved, and I think we're good to go there. And the anticipated date for cutover to the new system will be December 15th of this year. And like I said, one of the top challenges that we have is the construction of the Yuba site that is behind all the rest, and that will have that hefty change order. It will be about $250,000 that will have to be coming for approval. There's also potential change order coming from GenCom. When we've talked with our program manager for this, he really has some questions about that, so we will be reaching out to Gary at GenCom to get some clarifications on some of that, because some of it doesn't necessarily make sense to us, so we are working on that. So that is the radio project update.
Questions, Mr. Carroll?
Whenever I look at the public safety committee folder, I never see these actual written reports that you've obviously gotten access to. If they could be put somewhere on our iPad so we can look at them.
I can get this added afterwards. This is a report that Jason Marshall actually put together for me because he understands all of this much better than I do.
Sure.
But I can ask to have that provided each month, and then we can upload it.
That'd be great.
Yep.
Further questions, comments in regards to the radio tower project? You're good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, moving on to item C of number 7, Pine Valley Water Reservoir Update.
The full report has not been given to Pine Valley yet, so as soon as we get that, which it sounds like it'll be next week, I can share that with the committee at the end of the month when we have our next meeting.
Moving on to item 8, discussion and possible action, 2026 preliminary county budget. Item 8.
So we do not have a budget to present to you yet. All the departments have submitted their proposed budgets to us with the step increase built in. We have put the budget together, and at this point in time, we do not have a balanced budget. We have reached out to several departments, asking them to make some adjustments to their budget to decrease the deficit. We're going to be asking some departments to do some reorganization without cutting services, and I think that's the big thing, is we are not making any plans to cut services. This will really be a bare bones budget, but we hope to have no Band-Aids built in, like ARPA money or those type of things, and do not plan to use general funds. We do plan to use some fund balances in the non-lapsing funds, so if they've had funds that they haven't used over the years, we do plan to use some of those. And our next meeting for Executive and Finance will be on August 25th, and we will present the draft budget to you then. Any questions?
Questions, comments? More to come at our next meeting on the 25th of August. Okay, thank you. Item 9, discussion and possible action, approval to issue requests for proposals for the Emergency Services Building roof. Item 9. There are things in your packet as well, 9A, B, C, D, E. Hi, Barb.
Hi. Welcome back, right?
It's like you never left.
I feel that way some days. So the roof at the ambulance garage continues to leak. And I went back to research this. I know that it was brought to the county board. And I can't really figure out what happened. I'm not gonna lie. It looks like you received bids back in 2024 early. And there was a resolution that was prepared. I don't know if it was voted upon, if it was pulled off the agenda, but I can't find any record of what happened. So we put 2 patches on this roof, and in the last 2 rains, the water has literally poured into the building. Randy has been awfully kind and gone over and made attempts to help. Jason went up on the roof and cleaned out the drains, but it's not fixing the problem. The architect's venture was up on the roof. They thought it was from the vents on the sides. Both Randy and Jason have been up there and said, the vents are way over here, the leaks are way over here, this doesn't make sense. We really need to get the roof replaced because every time it rains and the water is dripping down in there, it's doing damage to your building. And quite frankly, the more water into there, the more chance of mold. We did have an air quality study done, came out great, and I'd like to keep it that way. So all I'm asking for today is to put the RFP out. Those quotes from 2024 are not valid. Put the RFP out and see what we would need to replace the roof. I don't think that we can consider anything until we have all the data that we need. So I'm not asking for money, just to put the RFP out.
Questions, go ahead.
So if it was approved by the county board in 2024, was funds allocated for that? Do we know?
I can't find that it ever got approved.
They were not.
Yeah, it didn't go any, it was not approved. First time I looked at that
Yeah, it
earlier
looks
today.
like from what I could find, it was approved last year to get bids
Correct.
with the hope of doing it as part of a capital improvement
Correct.
plan for 2025. And we went and looked, and it was never a 2025 capital improvement request.
Okay, that makes more sense.
At the time this was all happening was the time Mike came, the time Amber left, and my guess is it just got lost in the shuffle of changes that were happening.
So at this point, it's approval to get the bids and figure out what we need to do. I don't see why you wouldn't do that at this point. If you need a motion on that, I would so move.
Mr. Carroll got a comment?
First, who's going to generate the RFP?
I am hoping to use the RFP that we had from last time and just update the dates. Basically, the project hasn't changed. The needs haven't changed. So the wheel's already created, if you will, and we'll just go ahead and use that.
The second question, I would ask that the actual RFP itself be put in our iPads as well as the actual quotes that are received. The information I'm seeing from the last go around, all we have is just the bottom line dollar from each contractor, but not their actual written quote. So this time, let's get them all in there.
And we can definitely do that. We just wanted to have at least the dollar sign in there so you have an idea of where it's at, because we knew none of the quotes would be valid anymore. And the RFP that was used last time is in the folder, and that's what Barb is planning to update and just change the dates and use the same thing. It should be 9, no, that's not that one.
I thought I sent it over.
So request 9B, request for.
That one there, yeah.
Which one?
9B.
9B, I believe. Yeah, 9B.
Yeah, that's it right there.
Okay. Further questions and comments in regarding the ambulance building?
Seems like I remember we discussed having the issues with that flat roof, that we were going to put a pitch roof on it. There was some money held back, if I remember right, because there was an issue right off the get-go when this
There was
company-
$10,000 that was paid by REC when we purchased the building, you are correct. But that $10,000 was utilized to place the 2 repairs on it, I do believe, as far as I can tell, to repair it twice, and that money is gone.
Right, but didn't we talk about then the pitch roof?
There was discussion about putting a pitched roof on it.
I've just never seen a flat roof, you can patch it and patch it, it just never seems to hold long-term. So, so my only comment is if we're gonna do it, let's do something right.
Yeah, I don't remember what the RFP looked like. I remember hearing, I thought it actually came back that the roof, non-flat roof was actually gonna be, came in a lot cheaper, I thought, but that's been a year ago, so. Let's see what they come in at this time. I think Bob had made a motion. Anybody else got any comments? Otherwise, Bob had made a motion to go ahead with this.
Right now, the project scope from the original doesn't mention an alternate. It just,
Are we thinking do we want to look at that option?
yeah.
I'll put it in.
Okay. Further comments?
I need a second.
I'll make a second. All right, Bob has made the motion. Chairman Turk has seconded. Any other discussion? We will use the RFP from last time, along with asking them for some additional
An
alternatives for
It
roofs.
says new roof, so that could mean anything we
Yep.
came up with,
So-
so.
All right, all those in favor of the moving this on, signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, thank you. Thank you, Mark. Item number 11, no, what am I at, 10? Discussion of possible action approval of changes to holiday section of the handbook of personnel policies and work rules of Richland County. Item 10.
So one of my goals for this year is to update the handbook and to find consistency or put consistency in the handbook related to across departments. One section of the handbook that is inconsistent is the holiday. So there are certain members of Pine Valley and certain shifts of Pine Valley that have 12 holidays. Everybody else has 10 holidays because Sheriff's Department did catch up with most of the rest of the employees when they did their contract. So my request is that we look to provide 12 holidays for all employees. I did do some research on comparables. There are, counties range anywhere on average from 10 to 11 is really the average. There are 3 counties that responded to me that have 12 holidays. There are 2 counties that have 13 holidays. But those are kind of where the comparables are at. Most of our comparable counties are at 11, but I am really looking to have consistency across all departments.
Comments from the group, or we can get it on the floor with a motion and a second and discussion.
I'll move.
Moved by Mr. Gill, I'll second it. All right, discussion is open. Group? Thoughts?
So this is where shifts start after 2 p.m. at Pine Valley Manor on those 2 days. And at this point, that's considered the next
But they
day.
get the next day too. So when I talked with Brittany about this and showed this to her, she said a lot of the other places that she worked, the second shift would get it like Christmas Eve, second shift would get it on Christmas Eve, everybody else would get it on Christmas Day. But they wouldn't get both Christmas Eve and Christmas Day.
So if it's are these 12-hour shifts?
I think they'll do 8, 10, or 12, I believe.
Okay, so it's just, if it's a 12-hour shift, you start with, it's not going to be, you start at 2 probably. If you start at 2 and go to 2 a.m., you're getting one holiday. In that case, it's Christmas Eve, or you're getting 2 holidays because you work both of them.
Well, you get your holiday and time and a half for that 10-hour shift you worked, and then if you're off the next day, you get just your holiday pay. So you get a holiday day on the Christmas Eve and a holiday day on Christmas Day.
For working the one day.
Yes.
So if you work the day, oh, okay, all right. So you get the holiday pay regardless if you're there or not, but if you are working on that day, then you get the time and a half. Okay. Okay, trying to wrap that, trying to get the numbers sorted on
Yeah, Brittany said this isn't normal how they do that. So she said a lot of like these that are second shift are going to third shift. You'll get the Christmas Eve, but you won't get the day. This is just why we have it set up that way. I have no idea. Probably before any of us were here.
More discussion. I think we need to try and get everybody consistent. I kind of agree with Mrs. Welty's comments that there will be possible, we don't know. I mean, initially you would think there wouldn't be a lot of expense, more expense, but as far as the snowplower, they're on call 24/7 anyway, but they'll get their, whatever the pay is, they'll get. But, and same, isn't it, Bob, with the SO, Sheriff's Office, those that work the holidays? Yeah.
it. Right, I mean, that's, I just, I know that with the, it used to be with the Sheriff's Department, depending upon what time you worked, you would get the extra pay for that work, but then you would still get the holiday if you didn't work anyway. So, okay. Do we know how many employees this affects at Pine Valley Manor?
Steve, is there some union contract issue where the sheriff's union gets 9 or 10 days rather than 12, or why are they short of everybody else?
Theirs is David.
I didn't change theirs only because we'd have to change their union contract to get them 12. So if everybody else got 12, we would then go back and look at
Redo the
doing
contract. Okay.
an addendum and redoing the contract. So that's where I struggled with how to present this. Everything in blue is what's currently in place, so even if you don't make any other changes, I will be asking that what's in blue, and then the on the narrative parts, the parts that were highlighted or crossed off, if those updates could be made anyway. An alternative would be to take one away from Pine Valley and give everybody else one, and then we're at 11, because that really is more in line with our comparable counties, and that is another option that is out there.
Is there a timeline? I mean, if we say we wanted to get more information, I mean, another month or even next meeting,
Yep, because this is proposed to go into effect January 1.
January 1, so.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
At our next meeting, can you find out how many employees they actually do get the 12 days versus the 10?
See what the effect is.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Because it's only, it may not affect that many people.
Go ahead,
Well,
Steve.
another question, maybe harder to quantify, but just a rough idea of how many employees would then have to work that holiday where we would incur some overtime costs.
I
I
think
mean, the ones I know would need to
Yeah.
work already do the overtime arrangement, but some of the, I don't know about the other departments.
I think sheriff's, ambulance, and Pine Valley will be the 3 departments that will be required to have people working
Right.
on those days.
And I'm just asking, is there any others that might cause impact? I can't think of any.
Highway, if they have to work, you know, if they do get called in on those winter holidays, theirs would be impacted. Over at HHS, we do have people that are on call, so if they get called in, but they already get time and a half, so it wouldn't have any more cost to where they're at right now. There's nobody in the courthouse that would work on holidays, so it really boils down to those three main departments that are required to have the 24/7 services.
Go ahead, Mr. Gill.
Yeah, I support the 12 holidays, and I think we have to recognize the competitive workplace environment that's going on right now, and that if we can make our people happier and give them something that maybe others aren't getting, I think there's a real value. And I also recognize that there is a cost to it. That's reality. But I still think it's worthwhile to, you know, make our folks feel good.
So we're good with kind of waiting until next meeting this month and get a little bit more information, and then we'll...
We need a motion to postpone.
Sure.
Is there a motion on the floor?
We'll need a motion to postpone until next meeting. Mr. Schoonover, seconded by Mr. Manning. All those in favor of postponing until our next meeting on August 25th, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right. We'll take care of it on August 25th. Thank you. Item number 11, discussion and possible action approval of changes to the reimbursement section of the handbook of personnel policies and work rules of Richland County. Item 11.
So the next section that we're working on in the handbook is the reimbursement section. This is one that many department heads have talked to me about making changes to. Right now, the per day meal reimbursement is $25. That is pretty low. Standard rate for the state of Wisconsin is $10, $12, and $23 per meal. With the lodging section, we are starting to have more challenges with getting the state rate, so we did build in some flexibility there, so that we can pay a little bit more instead of making the employee pay a little bit more, and then looking to have mileage reimbursement at the IRS rate. The last big thing that this policy changes is right now, expense vouchers are paid through payroll, and it really should be an accounts payable process, so we are changing it so that it is through accounts payable versus payroll, and having it set up that every department use the same expense voucher, and it's all processed the same way.
Questions, comments? We can get it on the table to discuss. Moved by Mr. Steve Carroll, seconded by Mr. Bob Frank. We are on the floor for discussion. Go ahead, Mr. Carroll.
On the vouchers, are you saying that mean a separate check would be cut?
Yes.
Okay.
Majority or all of our employees are direct deposit? All.
So you're going to exceed the government rate by no more, when it exceeds a rate more than 15%, then it needs approval?
Yeah.
Good luck. I mean, any place that I've stayed, the government rate, and I'm not sure what it is now, but even, you know, they have the government rate, but then they'll still add the resort fee on top of that, which takes this number all to pieces, so, yeah, okay. I'm good with that.
Go ahead, Mr. Carroll.
How much of this happens? Are there that many employee travels for training and seminars and that? I don't have a feel for how many.
I would say probably every employee probably does 1 to 2 conferences or trainings per year. But we have land conservation, zoning, HHS, that travel at a regular basis for their job. So they do home visits, they're out and about in the field often. So I think those are the ones that it impacts the most.
What's the current state rate for lodging?
I think it's $98
It is
at most
$98,
places,
yeah.
and some cities are $110. And you're right, it's the resorts that are the ones that throw the whole thing off.
Oh, it is,
Mhm.
yeah. You see the rate, and then they add all the fees onto it, because then it's non-taxable. Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway.
Further comments, questions?
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
Other side.
Oh, you're awesome.
There is value too in staying at those hotels to go to the conferences that are hosting the lodges, because they do have the networking opportunities and things like that as well. So it's not necessarily just the cheap room. It's, you can, like, I have the conferences in the fall and the spring, and I find an added value to stay where they're having those conferences, because that's where all the other county clerks are, and there's value in that as well. So even if you stay at the lodging facility where the conference is, you can still only get the best deal that you can get, which isn't always the cheapest state rate, so there's that networking value that is very apparent as well. So it's critical.
If there's no further discussion, I will call the vote. All those in favor of changing, what is this, a resolution?
Yes, it will be a resolution that will go to the county.
Go to full county board, making the changes to the current reimbursements. As presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, moving on to full county board. Item 12, discussion and possible action, approval to accept donations to Simon's Recreation Complex, Mr. Mike Hardy.
All right, thank you. All right, just some simple donations to run by you. These were recommended for approval last night at the natatorium board meeting. For your consideration tonight, and pending your approval, we'll be on to county board. So the offer by the foundation was replacing a treadmill with a new treadmill at $5,700. We had a treadmill that go out. It was old enough that our vendor had said that the parts are obsolete, so they can't replace it anymore. So this is replacing an older unit. Also some miscellaneous weight room equipment. We'll be replacing some equipment in there for $1,000. And then the Pickleball Federation has offered to purchase 3 pickleball nets, which will be used in the campus gym while we have it, portable pickleball nets, and would allow us to offer pickleball in the gym. So the total donations offered were $7,210. Again, this was recommended for approval by the natatorium board last night. This brings the total donations this year for the foundation up just over $50,000 this year. Last year, if you remember, they had $50,000, so this meets their commitment of $50,000 a year. They are going to have some exciting news to announce. I'm not going to bring it forward. They did announce it at the natatorium board last night, but I'll let them announce it because I know they're going on WRCO and Richland Observer. But we're pushing off a campaign starting later in August or in September, and we've already got a big donor set up there. So they're going to have some big news there, and they're working towards future commitment of $100,000 to $150,000 donations, and they believe they can get there pretty quickly. So that's going to be some pretty exciting news, and they'll be announcing that in a couple of weeks. So that's good news to hear.
Thank you.
Anybody with questions in regards to the donations? Otherwise, I would entertain a motion to move this on to full county board. Motion by Mr. Carroll, seconded by Mr. Schoonover. All those in favor of moving this on to full county board, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, thank you, Mike. We're skipping 13, moving to 14. Discussion and possible action, Richland County mission statement. 14.
This goes back to our training session we had with Lou Everett Group, where we had department heads, county board members, staff together in a room talking about, okay, what is it that drives us in Richland County? Why are we doing what we do? And the feedback from everybody was pulled together and compiled into this statement. And so the challenge at the end of that session was, okay, now what are you going to do with this? And that's why we bring it here, to say, okay, what are we going to do with this? Do we want to look at adopting it as our official county mission statement? Take a look at it for those of you who haven't seen it and see what everybody came up with as we all put our heads together.
And there were 2 different statements that were presented. So there was the first one, and then they thought maybe we need to shorten it a little bit, and then there's the second one. So you will see that there are two separate options that are on the document. I have taken this to the department heads, and their vote was to have the second one, the shorter one, be adopted as the mission statement.
Are we just in discussion, or we didn't get this on as a resolution, or how's this working?
What's that?
We have discussion of possible action.
Discussion, yeah, we can have discussion of possible actions. We can discuss without it. Carol's got a question.
No question, I like the second one.
Statement. I agree with Mr. Carroll.
I like the second
Yeah,
one.
I vote yes to that.
Short and sweet.
There's popularity in being concise.
Yes, yes. You get halfway through one and then you just go on a reading, you wonder what's in there.
Comments from anybody else? Otherwise, the consensus of this group sounds like we want to stick with the shorter version.
Need a motion on that?
Sure.
I will make a motion to take the shorter version.
Seconded by Mr. Manning. Further discussion on the mission statement. If not, we will move the shorter version of the Richland County mission statement on to full county board approval. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right. Item 15. Discussion and possible action, emergency service department staffing request. Item 15. Ms. Barr.
So, when I came on board and took a look at where budgets are and what the staffing is, it was discovered that they have budgeted $55,000 for overtime for this year. They're projected to go to $110,000 in overtime this year. The reason for this, there is automatically 8 hours of overtime into every week with EMS because you work 2 24-hour period shifts. But they only have 5 EMTs instead of 6. So what's happening is their full-time staff are picking up that extra shift and picking up and filling in, and you're hemorrhaging from your overtime costs. This is causing a budget problem. In order to stop that and to become more consistent with your staffing, consistent with your budgeting, you need to add the 6th position. You run 3 crews, you have a Kelly day, that's standard among any EMS full-time service, and if you put the other position in there, Derek, can you go down to the next, please? You'll see that the numbers reflect the 2024 budgeted to what was actually spent was 489 was what was actually spent. They budgeted higher. The reason for that is they're budgeting a huge amount in the paid on call. They're also budgeting a huge amount in the per diems. What I'm suggesting is that we take away from the paid on call. We're not actually spending that much on paid on call people. There are very few of us left. I am one of them. To be paid on call, they're raising the roof on the training required, and this is becoming more of a career path. It's not a volunteer thing anymore. Volunteers are harder to find. With that, to get your call covered at the volume that Richland County does, we do 1,700 calls a year. You're going to have to raise that up. So this year, we've budgeted 565. So far, we're at 346. That was as of June 30th. If we continue that, we're going to be over budget a lot. We need to be budgeting appropriately. My request to you is that we approve another full-time position to be effective immediately. This would have to go to county board, and that will cut the overtime out. I also will not be using the paid on call budget, so I can take the money from there to fund this. And I think that you're gonna see a more consistent, reliable call response.
I think the other thing to think about here, you know, we've talked about, when it comes to my position, setting me up for success, it's also setting the new ambulance director up for success. Because what happened was, when there wasn't somebody to fill that sixth spot, Mike was doing that, the previous director was doing that. And he was on the road a lot, and he was running a lot of runs because there was the need to do that. We really need to have the new service director be able to come in and do budgeting, long-range planning, writing grants, requesting funds, program compliance, which a service director should be doing. They shouldn't be spending the majority of their time on the ambulance. Not that they're never going to go on a run, because they're going to need to fill in, they're going to need to help out, but their primary job should really be in the office, managing the ambulance service.
Mr. Carroll?
Is it on the table yet?
No. Go ahead.
I just want to make sure I understand what these figures are in this lower column on the worksheet. I don't know what that is. 724,000. What's that?
Can you go down there? So this is the budget for next year that I have presented. And the other difference that I did as MIS department head, and I will continue to do as the ambulance interim director, that has what I perceive as proper budgeting. The county tends to say, Barb's in this position, she doesn't take health insurance, we're not going to put that into budgeting. That's a dangerous way to live. Because if Barb gets hit by a bus tomorrow and your new director takes full family budgeting or full family insurance, you've gone over budget without anything you can do about it. So the reason that looks higher is that's full insurance for all EMS staff. Are you going to spend that much? Nope. But wouldn't you rather have the worst case scenario and come in lower? I certainly would.
And Barb, is that number with the current staff or with projected moving to 6?
Well, the problem is, which isn't a problem, it's a great thing. When I put this together, it was with the current staff with unknown people. I'm fully staffed as of Thursday. My last full-timer starts, except for this new position that I'm requesting. So, and I honestly don't know what benefits the 2 new people have taken. I don't ask them. I don't think that's something I should be asking them.
Questions, comments from the group? Otherwise, I would entertain a motion to move it on to full county board. If everybody's okay with it. Mr. Schoonover makes a motion, seconded by Mr. Gill. Further discussion and or comments as far as adding another position at the EMS. Mr. Carroll.
Barb, I heard what you said, but I'm still trying to understand. Does the 724 include the staff as you're proposing or not?
That would include all 6 staff members with health insurance at the family level for all staff,
Including the new one.
including the 6th one.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
That's
So it's, yeah, it does show the difference between. Further questions? If not, all those in favor of moving this on to full county board signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? All right. Thank you, Barb.
Thank you.
Take it to full county board next week. Item number 16, discussion of possible action approval to create and fill the ambulance service director position. Item 16.
So what I am asking is that emergency management and the ambulance services be separated, and that we are able to hire a new ambulance service director. As you will recall, Barb is only on a 3-month commitment to us, and so we are in a position where we need to post for filling that position. I'm asking that we create the ambulance service director position. As we talked about a little bit in the last time, it really is important that we have somebody who really is dedicated to the service, dedicated to the grant writing, dedicated to program compliance, budgeting, long-range planning. And so I'm asking that we are able to have a full-time ambulance service director. And this was also built into the budget for next year. And there is 0 levy in the ambulance budget for next year.
My question would be, and so the emergency management is built in the 2026 budget as well, separation?
Yes, yes.
I would entertain a motion to move it on if there is no discussion, or do you want to discuss it? Tell me your thoughts. Mr. Motion. Yes, motion by Supervisor Turk, seconded by the Supervisor Schoonover. Now we can discuss if you got questions. Basically, we've talked about separating. Go ahead, Mr. Gill.
How do other counties do it, and how do they fund? What kind of salaries? We don't have our neighbor counties.
We sent both of these to our wage study consultant to get them graded, and she has graded this one as the same as what it was previously. She said they still have the responsibility of the employees, the service. She said actually the emergency management is a lower grade, and so she brought that to us. So, and she does all those comparables. I'm presuming that this is rated within that grade.
Well, did that answer your question?
What other counties? Are they doing the same way, splitting these two positions?
The information that I have, there's very few counties that have ambulance service. I think there's 3 or 4, and I think they're together. But emergency management across the state varies. It's either the sheriff's department, it is on their own. One county has highway, they have ambulance. I think those are the main options. There is a
Very basic.
yeah.
Mr. Carroll.
I've said this before, an organization chart would really help me. But does this mean we're in essence creating a new department? In other words, emergency would report directly to you?
Emergency management would report directly to me. Possibly. I hate to say that because we haven't determined yet, are we going to look to have it absorbed into another department,
Right,
or is it going to be
right.
standalone? So really that'll be one of our next steps is, does it go to highway? Does it go to the sheriff's department? Does it go to HHS, or does it stand alone?
Right, okay.
But we have budgeted as a 29-hour-a-week position.
Which one?
Emergency management.
Okay. Further discussion?
We're going to find somebody that wants to work 29 hours a week for that one position?
See,
Has the credentials?
Well, and that may lead it more towards tagging it on with somebody else's
Right.
current position.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Bob?
Oh, boy.
Pays really well. You're gonna get 12 holidays.
No. This is less than 35 hours, so that's different. It's prorated.
All right, all those in favor of doing as we are proposing and moving it on to full county board, this would be going ahead with the filling the ambulance service director position. Give Trish the approval to move forward with that, or do we even need to send that on the board?
Yes.
Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, thank you. 17, discussion and possible action on creating of an ad hoc county facilities committee.
so this is something that started out of the campus reconfiguration. We really are at a point with that they have 2 truly different missions. One is really what is going to happen to the campus property. The other one is really looking at what do we do for facilities moving forward. And so they wanted us to bring this to executive and finance. Our proposal is that this committee consists of the county board chair, the vice chair, and 1 member from each standing committee. One thing that I have found sitting in on multiple meetings is public safety talks about buildings, public works talks about buildings, executive and finance talks about buildings, CRC talks about buildings. We really need to have that one central location to talk about long-range planning for our facilities.
I asked a question, Dave and I were just up at, it was a board chair and vice chair day and a half meeting up at Stevens Point, so I asked a lot of them. And it's all over. One of them's under their highway department, takes care of their building. The number of people that are building jails, I think I talked to 4 different counties that are Greene County, Portage County, I don't even remember the other 2, but so they're, because we're trying to find out, you know, all right, in Greene County, who took care of this whole jail planning? Well, it went under the highway department because that was, they must have had somebody within the department that was good at everything that needed to be done. But did you bring anything else different, Dave?
A couple of other neighboring counties that have also recently built jails, Grant and Iowa, have offered to lend their expertise to us as well as far as process and things like that, so we can learn from them.
We, some of us are on the CRC, Campus Reconfiguration Committee. We, just to the point there that we do not, I thought and stated that we could not handle both with the choices and stuff that's going to happen at the campus and our possible, whatever we're going to do for remodeling, building, and whatever within the county facilities. So another, is that thoughts and comments from you guys?
We get it on the table.
Sure. Motion by Steve Carroll, seconded by Steve Williamson. It's on the floor. Mr. Carroll.
Discussion. You know, I've been thinking about this a lot, and I mean, with the campus reconfiguration, we have a timeline. We have some deadlines, some timelines, some urgency to it. This is, like we've said, it's more of a long-term, ongoing need. I wonder if it might not make more sense to have Public Works step up. Right now, they don't have that much doing, and instead of creating one more committee, take Public Works, which you would think would be dealing with buildings and the infrastructure, and just put it back on their plate.
Anybody here from Public Works? Speak up now, you know what's coming.
After the lawnmower, it was broken down for 3 weeks. Yeah, our biggest lawnmower was broke for 3 weeks. So they've got a lot to do with the fairgrounds. They've been cleaning and picking up, and now they're taking care of parks. Even though they have, what, 1 summer helper, I think, is all they have. I'm not 100% sure.
How about the committee itself? I mean, the committee's even debated whether to meet all that.
True.
And maybe this is the task they need to take on.
Chairman Turk, your thoughts?
We certainly could look at doing it that way. As Steve said, other counties have done it differently. We looked at, okay, how are we handling the campus, and said, well, we can do it a similar way, and that's where this suggestion came from, but it doesn't have to be that way. I think we have the specific question of what do we do coming up here to address our most immediate needs, the jail and the courthouse. But it will be an ongoing long-term, so you could even look at, okay, we do this for the short-term thing, and then long-term it becomes incorporated into Public Works mission and stuff in their committee to handle once the decision is made on.
That role is not ad hoc, it's, you say it's ongoing.
Yeah.
That's why I think put it on a standing committee.
One of the counties had a building committee. It was just
If
building.
you're a big enough big enough county, sure.
But, yeah, I would agree, it's part of Public Works.
And we are skipping some meetings because there's not much on our plate, too. At least it gets jerked around where I can't follow it.
So was that a motion, Mr. Caro, to amend this to say designate Public Works Committee versus an ad hoc?
Yes, that's a.
Yeah, and then we can take it on, I'll second that. We can take it to full county board and get the rest of the board's opinion if we have a little discussion there. But Bob, any comments?
No, I think that makes sense. That's good. I think it's a good plan.
Mr. Gill?
Yeah, is it possible to bring in somebody with professional expertise on that committee as well? Like, you know, like I don't know, architect or engineering or whatever that can provide some some insights into things.
Well, and even, in my opinion, somebody to analyze, we're gonna have every building has been looked at now, and they're gonna analyze that data
It's a lot.
and say, even though it's gonna be their opinion or professional opinion on what, we know we have to do something with the jail. We know we have to do something to improve the courthouse. And
The other piece of this I was thinking about is that, again, adding one more committee means that many more assignments. Somebody on the board is going to have to go to these meetings, and this particular role is going to have some very intense phases at some point. So I'd just clear abandon another committee.
Well, and when we're struggling to keep
Yeah.
board members
Yeah.
and get them. But, I think, I agree with that. Any other discussion on it? Otherwise, we'll take it to full county board as we vote on the amendment first. And the amendment, So the amendment would read to designate the Public Works Standing Committee as the, what do we call it?
Dealing with whatever this committee was going to do.
To absorb the county, the long-range planning for county buildings.
Sure.
But he said,
To absorb the duties of
Take on
long-range
that
planning for
task.
county facilities. All right. Everybody understands what we're voting on? The amendment to name Public Works as that person. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Now we'll vote on moving it to full county board with the amendment as presented, and we just voted on. All those in favor of moving it on to full county board signify by saying aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay. We're getting there. Item 18, discussion and possible action, approval of fee increase for minor subdivision review certified survey maps. Item 18, Kathy.
Yes, so the current fee schedule has us at, for this certified survey map, when they turn it in, it's $100 plus $20 a lot. And it was that the zoning department was reviewing these certified surveys and signing off on them. And the person that we had hired last year, who's no longer there, said, I don't feel comfortable signing off on these, I'm not a surveyor. So found out that, and talked to our county surveyor and another surveyor, and a lot of counties send them into this plat review down in Madison. So then we were doing that, the plat review charged a fee, the surveyor would pay the fee, and then they would charge the person when they did the survey. Well, we found out last month that they will no longer, plat review will no longer review these. So then we're like, okay, we don't feel comfortable signing off on these. I mean, if there's a mistake on the survey and we sign off on them, and now it's, we're kind of taking. So we talked with Todd Rumler, our county surveyor, and because he's the county surveyor, so we got to kind of offer him the first opportunity. So he said it would be probably $200 a survey for him to review it. And if he was the one doing the survey, we'd either have another surveyor do it, or have another surveyor where he works do it. So we still have to work that out, but it looks like, and talking to another surveyor, it'd be about $200 a survey. We would be charged for them to review it, so we'd have to pass this fee on to whoever's getting the certified survey done. So instead of $120 minimum, it would be $320 minimum. But it would have to come in effect like as soon as we can, because we can't absorb that.
Motion by Supervisor Carroll, seconded by Supervisor Turk. Discussion. So if I bring you in an already CSM, it's going to be reviewed again by the county?
Okay. It needs to be reviewed. Like, so let's take Sean Walsh. He's now just retired, but he does a survey, brings it in. We would have to review it to make sure what he did was correct. So So we've been sending it to plat review to do it, so now we have, we
That,
need,
that part I understand, but if I bring you in a CSM, it's gonna get reviewed no matter what. So is there any advantage to even having the CSM?
yes. Because when you have us bring in a CSM, say it was from Sean Walsh, and then there's mistakes on it, yeah, you had CSM done, people make mistakes. So then if Todd Rumler reviews it, it's like a second set of eyes looking over. And with plat review, every one of them have had, not every one of them, but there's several that they've had little typos that they've caught that I wouldn't have caught. I'd be just signing off on them, so.
Money is the actual CSM itself, but you still need a little bit of check on it.
Yeah, well, definitely, yeah, at least 2 eyes on it.
Yeah, and that's why we do it, then if it's not the person that did the survey. But
Any other further questions from the group?
How many of these plots, how many of these happen a month, roughly? Any idea?
probably 2 or 3.
Great, all right, thank you.
And then, well, almost everyone, not every one of them rezones that we do.
But a lot of the rezones that we do have them when they're splitting smaller.
That's when they're catching it, when they, yeah. All right, if nobody else has any questions, we've already got it on the floor. All those in favor of the fee change and moving that on to Polk County Board, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right. Correspondence, Mr. Kalish, item 19. Nothing? Future agenda item 20.
Budget presentation.
What's
Budget
that?
Budget presentation.
Oh, yeah. How many hours do we need for that meeting? Everybody is to have it read and memorized by next meeting. We do have the budget coming up, and was there something else we were bringing back?
The holiday.
Holidays, so those are 2 items.
Well, then there's the water out of Pine Valley. Yes.
Yep. I think one's enough on the radio tower. Is that enough for you guys if we hear at the beginning of the month project? Unless there's something drastic that comes up.
As long as we get the written version, right?
Sure. Mr. Wendell's awake? Yes? Okay.
Yep.
Anything you need to add?
Not at this time.
Okay. Otherwise, we would adjourn to August 25th. Does that one start at 5 as well normally?
Yes.
That's what I thought. Mr. Manning?
Motion to
Motion
adjourn.
to adjourn by Mr. Manning, seconded by Mr. Carroll. All those in favor of adjourning until August 25th at 5 p.m. signify by